Have you ever tried getting into the GT editor, starting to create a level, and then when you finished it, it looked like this? Well, if it's happened to you, don't worry, it actually happens to everyone, believe it or not. No one starts out creating levels like a pro in this game. At the end of the day, it takes some time to learn how building in this game works and how you can be better at it. That's why in this video, I'm gonna show you how to create a good level in Jump Dash. And I'm gonna do that by creating a level myself, so let's get right into it. In order to make a good level, the first thing you have to do is choosing a good song. And when I was scrolling through my downloaded songs page, I had the insane luck to find the best song I've ever listened to in my entire life. What song was it, you may ask me? And I respond, the song was... I don't care what you say. This is perfect. Alright, so after choosing a good song for your level, the next thing you gotta do is the gameplay. My main tip for you is, if you're terrible at making gameplay, just like me, just keep things simple. Don't make your gameplay super complex if you can't. It can get inconsistent and annoying to play if you don't know how to make it right. Since I want this level to be at least 4 stars difficulty, I'm just gonna make some really simple gameplay real quick. Okay, so after spending less than 5 minutes making this gameplay, it is time to start decorating it. I always start my decorations by doing the block design, so yeah. I started making a structure here, and to be honest, I didn't like how it looked that much, but whatever, I thought I could save it using some nice details, but oh boy. How wrong was I? I started making a lot of stuff in this block that didn't make sense at all, and the bad structure I had didn't help me as well. I was just having a mental breakdown with this block, and as soon as I realized it was looking not as good as I wanted, I just decided to redo it from scratch. See, many times it will take you more than just one attempt to come up with something good in this game. You can't just let a bad creation take your motivation away from you. You have to go back and try to do something better. Even if it takes more than 2 or 3 attempts to do it, you gotta prove to yourself that you are capable of doing it. So instead of getting sad and just closing the game, I wanted to make the best block I could. After deleting that atrocity, I decided to come up with a different concept. For some reason, I really wanted to use that kind of round block that no one really uses, and somehow I wanted to implement that into my decoration style. So that's what I started to do. And this time, I did not really want my structure to look bad. And this time, I actually really like it. For the details of the block, I did some glow and black outlines, as well as a lot of random stuff that I thought would fit to the structure. You know, in order to make good details for your block, you have to try not only making them look coherent to your structure, but you also have to know how to manage their colors in a good way. As you can see here, I mainly used 3 colors for this block, them being purple, pink, and yellow or blue with the pulses. These are 3 colors that fit well together. As you can see in this design, I'm trying to distribute them as best as I can. In my opinion, the best way to distribute colors is to mix them very well. Avoid making each part of the block to be an individual color. Instead, try to mix all your colors throughout your entire design. That will make it look more attractive and interesting. As you can see here, each division of this block has a main color. The middle one is yellow or blue with the pulse, and the other ones are pink and purple. Even with that, I still mixed the colors a little bit and didn't make every division of the block just monochromatic. Okay, so the first block is done and I think it looks pretty decent. After finishing this block, I started making some other blocks with similar details. I like to make my blocks kinda similar to each other because that way the level gets more coherent and consistent in general. Also, it is easier to do it like that. Shout out to Watermelon Gaming who donated me £1 during my live stream, and that was my first donation ever, so thank you so much. After making some more blocks, I started to copy and paste them around. I literally made about 6 or 7 designs and then distributed them throughout the part. I like to do it because it saves a lot of time. Also, it's fun to copy and paste stuff, to be honest, and this is how it was looking so far. Yes, as you can see, the blocks are done, but I still have a lot of work to do. After doing the blocks, the next thing I like to do is making the ground spikes. A lot of people like to make ground spikes in the front of their blocks, which can be good at times, but I personally dislike doing that. I prefer to make them behind the blocks. I don't know, I just think it looks better this way. It gives a nice sense of depth to the level in general. For the details, I usually just do some bright stuff just like that. I usually make 2 or 3 ground spikes variations and then I just spam them in the part just like this. As you can tell, my ground spikes are very lazy and simple, and to be honest, that's something to keep in mind. Ground spikes on any part can't be overdone. They shouldn't be too detailed because after all, they aren't supposed to be the main attraction of the part. You should do your best to keep them simple, but also not empty and bland, you know? Just do some simple bright details on them and it should work very nicely. Now, after making the ground spikes, it is time to do the air deco. As you may know, my air deco isn't like the others. While regular air decos are just some random arrows thrown into the part or some random bright details indicating the way the player should go, my air decos have a little bit of extra effort. I like to make some blocks and lines behind my air decos because for me, it adds some extra contrast to the part I'm making. And then I just make some regular arrows and some random bright details on the spots that are empty. For example, in this spot, even with these arrows I made, the part still feels empty. To fix that, I'll just make some random spike details connected to the ground spikes, just like that. That's the most coherent thing I can think of doing right now. So yeah, the air deco is basically done. My main tip for you, if you want to make your air deco look good, is to make it as attractive as you can. You know, don't make your arrows and other details low opacity. It will just make it look very ugly and out of place in general. Also, try to make it consistent. Don't throw a lot of random bright details on your part. That is just gonna make it messy. If you make your air deco clear, consistent and bright, your level is gonna look way better. Trust me. I've never met anyone who has had problems related to making air deco, to be honest. I don't know if it's something that people actually struggle with. So yeah, let me know if you want to see an air deco tutorial on my channel any day. Okay, now the part is practically finished. The only things that I still gotta do are the moves and the background. For the moves, I'll just make everything on the part go up and down, as I pretty much always do. One good tip for you when you're making moves on your part is to make as many things move as you can. You know, on my parts, I like to make absolutely everything move, even the air deco and the ground spikes, and it genuinely makes the part look way better for some reason. So I think it's something that you should take into consideration when making your levels. I guess that when a lot of things move on a part, it adds some very nice dynamism to it, so I totally recommend trying that out. After the moves, the only thing that had to be done was the background. And to be honest, at this point, I was very lazy to put effort into anything, so I just made some colorful blending blocks with a very low opacity moving to the left. It took me, not ironically, 2 minutes to get it done, so yeah.